Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer. It's been a few days since I've done one of these. I've just been pretty busy. It's finals week as a college student. So here is the first After the Buzzer video in like 4 or 5 days, I think. And there are only 4 games to talk about, so not a lot to talk about here. But there are a couple big storylines. And the first one I have to talk about because I haven't made a video about them since I made the one calling them a disaster. And now they've won 6 straight games. The Houston Rockets all of a sudden look amazing. I don't think I can quite explain it. They were 1-16 when I made that video calling them a disaster. Since that video, 6-0. 6-game win streak. They're on the best win streak in the entire NBA. I don't know what's going on. It's a combination of factors. One of the bigger moves that they've made since that incredible losing streak to now this crazy win streak is ditching the double big lineup. Christian Wood starting at the center position, and it's really opened the game up a lot more. He's been probably the biggest reason why they're on this win streak so far. He's been excelling. He had 23 points and 8 rebounds in a win over the New Orleans Pelicans today. I wanted to make a video talking about them, and I was kind of worried because at first it looked like the Pelicans might come back and win this one. They end up losing by 10 points despite a late effort to try and make a run. Eric Gordon has been killing it. He had 23 points in this one. Jayshawn Tate has been a monster. He almost had like a 5x5 30-point game against OKC the other night. He was amazing in that game. He had 11 and 7. You have Garrison Matthews, who looks like the second coming of Klay Thompson some nights. Some of the shots that he hits are ridiculous. Şengün has played well in limited minutes, 10 points and 4 rebounds. He still should get more minutes. It still is an issue with him fouling people too much. But this Rockets team is just on fire. It's been the craziest 180 that I've seen, because that Rockets team, like, it looks night and day. Not even just like the one change where you go away from the double big lineup and things just get better. Like, this looks like a completely different team. Things are clicking so much more. The offense looks so much smoother. And the craziest part about this is they've done it without Jalen Green. They lost Jalen Green, and now they're undefeated since losing him to injury. I don't think that's an indictment of Jalen Green being bad or anything like that, or him hurting this team. I think it's just a weird circumstance of timing. Maybe him being gone does kind of open up the offense a little bit more in more of a team environment. Like, they're not thinking about, do we have to get it to Jalen? Like, do we have to focus shots to him? Maybe a little bit. But I don't think that it's his absence at all that has caused this. And if anything, it makes it more impressive. The fact that the Rockets have gone on this win streak with Jalen Green being hurt. Kevin Porter Jr. had a near triple-double a few nights ago. He just didn't get that one rebound. He got a rebound at the end, but Alperen Şengün tipped it to him, and so it counted as his rebound, not KPJ. So KPJ almost got his first triple-double. But he's been having a few really good games as of recently. Still struggling a lot with efficiency, which is a big issue, but he's cut down a little bit on the turnovers. And that is a big part of him getting better at being a facilitator. One of the main criticisms I had, and I still have, of this Rockets team is that they really don't have an elite, or not even an elite, but like a typical facilitator. Kevin Porter Jr., I don't see him as a point guard. I still don't at this point, but so far he has improved in that role. He's been getting better. They didn't even have him in this game that they won. The Rockets are just doing it. They haven't beaten any great team. Well, they beat the Bulls, who are a great team, but most of their wins, like, they've had one against us, they had one against the Magic, against the Pelicans. So they're not beating like amazing teams or anything necessarily. But it doesn't matter, because they were 1-16. They weren't beating anybody up to this point, and now here they are. They're showing out. So shout out to the Houston Rockets. Maybe this video jinxes them. Like, it cursed them the first time to start winning games. Maybe now they're going to start losing. I'm sure Rockets fans aren't going to be too happy that I'm making this video, because it is well documented that I'm a curse. But I felt like I had to mention the Houston Rockets. They're on fire right now. Christian Wood's been playing kind of near an all-star level over the last few games. It's been really impressive from him. He's making a showcase for either getting traded because he's going to hurt their pick value. And right now his value continues to rise. So maybe they try and sell high on him and get some team to bite, get them some more assets to continue with the rebuild, or maybe they even keep him. Maybe he's making a case to show that he wants to stay around after he had kind of a rough stretch throughout that losing streak where he just couldn't quite get anything going. He was complaining about shots, I believe, or just like the rhythm of the offense. the Rockets, they've done this crazy 180. No one's talking about Steven Silas being fired anymore. It's crazy how winning just cures everything. And yeah, right now 7-16. There's a big test for them coming up because, like I said, they've been playing some kind of easier teams, being the Pelicans, the Magic, us twice, the Hornets in overtime, 146-143. That was a big game. The Bulls are like the only really good team they've beaten, but now they've got the Nets, the Bucks, the Grizzlies, the Hawks, the Cavs, the Knicks. So they've got a bit of a gauntlet coming up. So I guess this is the chance to see, is this for real? Are the Rockets actually a much better team than they have shown over the course of this year? We'll see, I guess. It blows my mind that this has happened. They've been fun to watch. I got to give it to them. I have hated watching the Rockets for most of this season, but it's been a complete 180, looking like one of the worst teams I've seen in a very long time to now being a respectable 7-16 on the season, continuing to rise up the Western Conference standings. And with how inconsistent teams are in the West, who knows? Maybe now the Rockets make some kind of play-in run or something. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, they're killing it. So shout out to the Houston Rockets. Hopefully Jalen Green is able to come back soon. I'm not quite sure what his timetable is, but hopefully it's back soon. Next, I want to talk about the Jazz and the Cavs a little bit. I just made a video yesterday praising the Cleveland Cavaliers, so of course they come out and lose today. But even so, it's a very good Jazz team, so I'm not surprised that they lost. Jazz moving to 16-7 on the season. This game was really just a duel between Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, 35 points, 6 assists. Also, Rudy Gobert had 20 rebounds, and he was ridiculous defensively in this one of his more fun defensive games to kind of watch. But Donovan Mitchell was just doing everything for this team in this game. He's been kind of up and down over the course of the last few games. I've seen some Jazz fans complaining about him on my timeline, talking about how they need him to be better, and that was the definition of what he was tonight, was just better. He played 39 minutes, hitting all the tough buckets. Darius Garland, like I said, was dueling with him. He had 31, 4, and 5. He is a guy that I think is a sneaky pick to be an all-star this season. As I said in my Cavs video, he's been amazing for this Cavs team. He was by far their best player tonight, and what he's been doing, I feel like it goes kind of unnoticed because of Jared Allen's. He's the guy who just got the $100 million contract, so everyone's looking at him. Is he living up to that? Evan Mobley, of course, the Rookie of the Year hype. So I feel like Garland kind of gets left behind, so hopefully a game like this will kind of introduce people to him a little bit more. Mobley with 14, 12, and 3 in this. Jared Allen with 17, 17 and 10, 2 assists as well. 15 from Ricky Rubio, 11 from Jetty Osman, falling to the Utah Jazz by 1 point. It was a great fight that they put up. Of course, it still fits the whole curse narrative because I just made a whole video praising them and they come out and lose right after. But I want to give a shout to the Cavs, give a shout to the Jazz because this was just a good game. Next game, the Charlotte Hornets beat the Atlanta Hawks by 3 points. This was a close one, and shout out to the Hornets for making this one, coming into Atlanta, beating the Hawks in a game where they're missing a lot of guys. I don't know if any of y'all saw the reports, but they lost a ton of players to COVID-related protocols. I think it's like McDaniels, LaMelo, Rozier, like Plumlee even. I think that's like 4 or 5 of them. They're missing a lot of guys due to COVID protocols. All those guys might not have been in protocols because there were so many of them that I can't remember the exact names, but they came into this game with a starting lineup of Ish Smith, Kelly Oubre, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward, and Nick Richards, and they won. They beat an Atlanta team and Trae Young, who have been playing pretty well as of recently. Miles Bridges continues to ball out. He had 32, 4, and 4, 18 from Gordon Hayward, 28 from Kelly Oubre, who has been on fire recently, 18, 5, and 7 from Ish Smith, 19 from Cody Martin, 13 from PJ Washington. Just an all-around team effort. Even saw some JT Thor and James Bouknight minutes in this one. Neither of them scored, but still cool to see them get some minutes for this Hornets team that is super depleted. Big win for them. On the Hawks side of the ball, John Collins had 31, 12, and 4, 25 and 15 from Trae Young, 28 from Kevin Huerter, and 17 from Gallo. It was those guys. Clint Capella only had 8 points, 12 from Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. They just really couldn't get stops. It felt like the Hornets were kind of getting any buckets that they wanted to get in this one. They were down by double digits, and they really did make it close at the end. It was just too little too late. So shout out to the Hornets for holding on in this one. This is a big win for them. Once again, like I said, being pretty depleted. I want to make a video talking about the Hornets because I think they're in a really interesting position. So if you want to see that video, let me know. Maybe that'll be tomorrow's video. And finally, let's talk about the Wizards versus the Raptors. The Wizards are kind of struggling after that really, really hot start that they had where they were 9-3. Since then, they're 5-7. They're 14-10 on the year, losing by 12 to the Raptors. Dinwiddie with 9 points. He has just not been the player that he was at the start of the season. 14 from Bradley Beal, 9 from Kuzma, 4 from Gafford. So an all-around just bad effort scoring the basketball. Only 6 from Montrezl Harrell, who has been one of their better scorers so far this season. KCP did have 26 points in a big effort from him, but obviously not enough. On the Raptors side, just playing lockdown defense as they have been, super gritty. 11-6 from Scotty Barnes, 31 from Siakam, who I feel like people are kind of sleeping on at this point. He's had a lot of really solid performances since coming back from injury to start the season, and I feel like just no one ever talks about him anymore. 10-14 from Precious Achiuwa, 14 from Chris Boucher. You had 10 from Fred VanVleet, including this crazy move where he crossed over Daniel Gafford and turned him around and then lost the ball and did a fake behind the back that got Bradley Beal's neck too. If you didn't see it, go look it up. I'm sure you can find it if you just search Fred VanVleet. It was one of the weirder, really cool plays that I've seen. But this Raptors team is just really gritty defensively. It feels like an identity that they can build on with guys like I mentioned, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby when he comes back. They've got a lot of really good wing perimeter defenders, and I think that's kind of an identity they can build on. Gary Trent Jr. has been pretty solid defensively as well. Fred VanVleet has always been a good defender. So I kind of just see them, even through this weird retool rebuild period, creating this pretty tough, gritty defensive team. They remind me a lot of Grit and Grind Grizzlies. Of course, not quite the same level because that team was a championship contender doing so, but just kind of a little bit of shades here and there of just really tough physical defenders on the defensive end, and it's fun to watch. It's different from a lot of the offensive games that we see, so if you want to watch some good defensive basketball that's fun, watch the Raptors. So those are my thoughts on these games. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you think about this weird Rockets winning streak. Is it for real? Is it just the fact that they're playing some rough teams? Is it just kind of a regression to the mean, they were not an awful team, but they're obviously not a great team or anything like that, so are they just kind of finding their way back towards that middle? Let me know in the comment section below. If you made it this far in the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment below the Rockets are going to win the championship, so I know that you made it to the end here. I appreciate y'all watching. I will see y'all later. Real one, say it back.